Well, Aaron, mainly, I have one legislator, but the Northwest region is pretty much united in this. That Dr. Ghali, when he came there, he told the board of supervisors that he was going to bring long-term financial stability. They were almost over. They were close to closure by the group that did the report on him that went to the board of supervisors said that he was responsible for bringing them back from the brink of closure. They didn't have a financial reserve. He's got that now. He moved quickly to recruit academic chairs for each academic department, and they all, for the first time in history, they have 20 academic chairs. Never happened before. And the personal relationships with the partners and the people of Shreveport. Everything he was asked to do, he's done. He's been reachable, attainable. I don't call him. He doesn't call me back.
What's the motivation then? What is the motivation behind this?
Well, I know what I think it is, but
Go ahead.
I'd rather not expound on the rate. Well, I know you want me to. I understand that, but there certainly any time that there were four of us went to the board of supervisors meeting, and we sat in on executive session, which by law we can do, and I asked questions to the board at the end about why he was given a contract initially and put on reserve, whatever it was, and for a year, and he worked. Then they put him on gave him a contract, which expires in December, and now they were talking about doing a search of across the country. I'm like, that sounds like a witch hunt to me, because he was the only one that really was targeted. And why were we going to have a national search for a man that we know does a good job?
Mr. Larry, have you seen what can you tell us about the complaints? Have you seen any of the official documents? Have you seen what can you tell us about the complaints that have been filed that we may not know?
Well, I'm not sure. I've read the report that they gave to the board of supervisors about Dr. Ghali, and there was, it said things like there are people that are not happy with his leadership. And I told the board that day, you tell me a guy that's doing his job, that's making people work, they're going to have enemies. They said that there were people that worried about loyalty. I never hired anybody I didn't tell them I wanted to be loyal to me. I don't expect to have you not disloyal to me. I want you to be loyal to me. That's just how it works. And the things that they complain about are things I thought were almost really funny. Why would you not want somebody that expected their workers to be loyal to LSU Shreveport? Why would you not want that? And it's like that. There are folks that are upset for whatever reason. I don't know. I had a guy that called me probably 3 weeks ago, said that Dr. Ghali was making out with nurses in the operating room.
Oh, God.
I'm like, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. That's not true.
Larry, let me ask you this.
We would certainly have heard that.
Senator Tarver has said that this is apparently just an attempt by the LSU system to take the heat off of LSU Baton Rouge by casting a shadow on the Shreveport Medical School. You agree in part with that?
In part, I do. I always agree with Senator Tarver. He and I are good friends, and we are always together on LSU Shreveport. We both know, and the other representatives and senators understand that if we don't have that med school, we're going to be in trouble in Shreveport. And I represent part of Shreveport, and certainly that's a huge thing for me. Has been since I got elected. And every time I've been over there, they've been more than helpful. Help me. I take my family there for medical assistance when we need to do that. And I'm happy with their things. And like I said, Senator Tarver, I haven't read that letter yet. I heard about it, and I'd like to read it. But he was really upset yesterday when I talked to him.
He's going to join us. He's joining us at 7:40, by the way. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure it'll be entertaining.
Oh yeah.
Larry, pardon me. It sounds to me that between you and Mr. Gregg, there are at least you're sort of hinting at the fact that there may be some sort of behind the scenes plotting here, or these meetings took place to, like Mr. Gregg said, how do we turn the attention away from Baton Rouge? Is that kind of what that going through your mind at all?
Well, there's no question when you look at the entire thing, which I did as an outside observer, that it strikes you funny that a man that, and it was said by one of the supervisors at the meeting, that whatever that has been said by outside groups like the first people that did his observation, the people that represent the area, the elected people, came here and stood up for him. So whatever those folks said certainly will be elevated to a much higher place just because they're the ones that are elected to do it, and they're saying they're good with him. So, yeah, you got to think they're going to have a national search for a guy they've had 5 years. I mean, wouldn't you be a little think there's something behind that? If now they're going to have a national search for Robert J. Wright's replacement, and then you're not wanting to be replaced.
So what now? What do you do? What do you do now? What do lawmakers do? What does Dr. Ghali do now?
Well, I really can't answer that here. And I know the Board of Supervisors was going to create a national search committee for Dr. Ghali and Dr. Oye. Now they're not going to do that. They are going to set up rules, but they're not going to include those guys. So he's kind of dodged that bullet. And, certainly all of us, and I had all kind of calls from legislators after. I wish I'd have known I'd have been there. We'll come to the next one. I'm like, I think it's pretty much over for us that they're moving on from that. But there are folks that have brought all these allegations section. I read something about a pornographic book. It never said anything about Dr. Ghali had one. That they throw all these things at you like they're throwing mud against the wall, and what'll stick. I don't think much of it will, but it's really been sad for Dr. Ghali, a man that has done so well in the community and what he was supposed to. He's a world-renowned surgeon. I mean, I'm not sure why we're doing this, except there are some people that aren't happy some in another place, and maybe it could be argued that this is a way to take the heat off and look at somewhere else. I just hate it with Dr. Ghali. I will add, too, Aaron, this isn't the first time this has happened. This happens every year. Mm-hmm. Every year they try to do this. I know one of the ladies in my district, a constituent, called me, and I had a meeting with 3 or 4 men, and we did a letter-writing campaign to the Board of Supervisors to keep his job. That's been 3 or 4 years ago. So this has been ongoing. There are entities in the government are connected to the hospital that are well connected that want him out, don't want him there. I want him in. Mm-hmm. I want to be sure everybody understands that. I want him in, and I can't speak for all the legislators. They'd have to do that themselves. I don't talk to anybody that's upset with him.
Gotcha.
There's nobody. In fact, they've been shocked by all this, and the only thing left to do is to stand up for him, and that's what I'm doing.